Indie game developers have been making tidal waves in the video game industry today. Through the 90s, and even moving into the turn of the century, indie games were seen as relatively fringe. Everyone in the industry was pretty small at this point, so independent developers were considered garage operations and mostly unsuccessful. There were some studios that made it big, but they were few and far between. With the rise in social media and the advent of smartphone platforms, indie developers now operate on near even ground with the large game publishers. Publishing and marketing a game is cheaper and easier now than it's ever been, making indie studios rise to fame quickly. World of Goo and its creators, 2D Boy, were in the right place at the right time with a great game to capitalize on this. World of Goo is a physics-based puzzle game. Each level starts out with a limited amount of goo balls, which you use in various ways to create structures to rescue as many balls as possible. The objective is to move your goo balls from the start point to a pipe at the end to meet each level's goo ball rescue requirement. Throughout the game, the goo balls vary greatly, from reusable, heavy, inflatable, undead, and many more types of goo balls. With so many varying options, World of Goo keeps every level pretty fresh as you trudge through the game. The artistic design of World of Goo is solid. Its appearance sticks to the Goo theme and throws in a little animated cartoon feel to keep the game light and fun. Interestingly, there are also some undertones of sadness and darkness throughout the game, which may be some indication of where the story is headed. The player is given the feeling that each level completed is an important small victory in a world that lacks real happiness. The soundtrack and accompanying effects are charming. The Goo Ball sound effects feel spot on despite some repetition. Moving them around causes sort of a purring chirp that is both adorable and appropriate for their character. The soundtrack varies quite a bit depending on the level and works hand in hand with the graphic style to hold the mood of the game's story. This in-tandem mood experience aggregates together to create a game that can be described as nothing but harmonious. World of Goo is a pretty long undertaking. I've played it for multiple hours and found myself about halfway through. One of the great elements of this game is that I found I can play it on the go and play a single level, or I can sit on my couch and bust out several without getting bored of the experience. I'd recommend this game for just about anyone, regardless of gaming proficiency or age. World of Goo is a perfectly orchestrated confluence of gaming elements that creates an experience greater than the sum of all of its components. PixelFreak.com is giving World of Goo 95 pixels out of 100.